And actually, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Because I know me.
You know, so that's our life mission. That's the McKinn's mission.
You don't have to understand my boundaries to respect them.
Well, no, I'm the president and co-founder of McKinn, a person in long-term recovery from substance use disorders.
How do you go about fixing the damage in the trust between the family after you get out?
Okay, I gotta work on that.
Celebrating my 6 months. Didn't have cake.
Yeah.
Gosh, you showed up.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. My name is Marshall. I'm a grateful recovering addict. I'm a person in long-term recovery. And I welcome y'all today. Dual sword here. I bring something and you bring something, you know? That's the way it is. I try to bring a message everywhere I go so that I can receive something everywhere I go. You know, tonight, man, I want to just touch on a couple of things. You know, first and foremost, you know, I just had this knee replaced. This knee is doing fine. Now the other knee is acting up. I'm getting ready to replace it. I had a talk with it the other night. You getting ready to go? You know, and I knew beforehand both of them were bad. I asked the doc, I said, doctor, which one you think I should do first? The doc goes look at the x-ray, comes back and said, well, both of them are bad. You make the choice, you know? And I did. I chose the left one. Now I got to have the right one done. But another thing I want to say, man, I am as happy, joyous, and free as I've ever been, you know? And that indicates to me that I have grown. I have not stayed still. Every message that I hear all the time is you got to continue learning. You got to continue finding out things about yourself. You know? I mean, I tell anybody, I say this all the time, man. I ain't been in the projects, man, in over almost 30 years. Because I ain't in the habit. I've learned not to test myself. Go around a bunch of people that's using like I'm God. No, I don't do that. You know? And that lets me know, man, that's an indication for me. I don't know, people can say what they want. That's an indication for me that I have grown. Because believe it or not, this is a spiritual program. What's up, Paxton? This is a spiritual program. Man, I give you a little instance that happened to me, my personal experience. I remember my wife telling me, man, years ago, man, my son is almost 40 now. My wife telling me, my son about 5 years old, right? And she was saying, look, the difference between me and you, Marshall, is that when I go shopping, I shop for the entire family. When you go shopping, you shopping for yourself. And, you know, I process things. I process that. And I come to her the next day, and I told her, I said, you know what? You're right. And my thinking changed shortly after that. My thinking started to change. You know, I've been reading innate literature and all of that stuff, man, and it talks about self-centeredness being the core of our disease. And, you know, man, we think we are the most important all the time. I got a wife and 2 kids. I put them in dire situations, spending the rent money, spending their mortgage money, you know, wrecking the car, loaning the car out to the drug dealer, and all that kind of stuff like that, man, because it was all about me. You know, it was all about me. And man, I mean, I had to understand that I had to learn how to live all over again. I had to learn how to live, man. You know what I'm saying? Because this thing will grab you, man. And this thing will turn you upside down, man. You know, I think of some of that, man, stuff that I did out there on the street, man. You know what I'm saying? And I know that ain't me. But I know when I'm caught in the grips, I do almost anything. That used to be my famous saying. Oh, I'll try anything once. That shit got me in so much trouble. You know? Got me in so much trouble, man. I had to go in the other direction. You know? I ain't trying anything once no more. You know? The spiritual, man, the spiritual part of the program, I tell anybody, if you don't understand that this is a spiritual program, you're missing something. You know? That's a connection, a spiritual connection, a connection with the power that's greater than you are. You know? It ain't that God complex that some of us have. You know? It's some kind of spiritual connection. And man, I get that on a daily basis. I get a spiritual connection from y'all. This is what I mean. This is a dual thing, man. I get a spiritual connection from y'all. I see people all the time that bring me messages that I'm not even looking for. And I'm just grateful that I'm at that point, man, where I can receive it. You know? And I have received messages. You know, I mean, today, man, I thank God for the people that he put in my life. Some of them showed me how to do it. Some of them showed me how not to do it. You know, I worked on not being judgmental for years and years and years. You know, Hopper Greenhower, you know, used to be over there at Rubicon years ago. He told me, man, I stopped trying to judge people that come through the door. Because I don't know who's going to make it and who ain't going to make it. The one I see come in that still got his watch and ring on, I'm thinking, oh, he might make it. The one that come in with no shoes on, I'd be like, oh, he ain't going to make it. 2 years later, the one that had no shoes on, working the program, and things are happening in his life. The dude that got the watch and ring on, he back out there again. And that's typical. You know, we see that, man. You know, for whatever reason, man, we have to hit a bottom. You know, our butt got to be dragging the ground. When in desperation, I'm telling you, man, that changes things. But we can change before that, man. I just recently, man, met somebody, man, that I guess they said they were atheists. They didn't believe in God. They got sick. When in desperation, all of these people be on the deathbed and be calling for God. You know? All of them be on the deathbed calling for God. You know? I don't know, for me, I understand, man. The brother that came in here and spoke, man, a few weeks ago, said when he got out the joint after 17 years, he went and hugged a tree. I understand that, man. Before, it was a Bible, man. It was the God of the nature, the God of universe. You know, people used to go pray in places that they know weren't man-made. Man, when we get here, when I got here, man, I didn't even know how hungry I was. And I see other people that got here didn't know how hungry they were. And man, they started researching this thing. And they started researching the program. And eventually, they found out how hungry they were. Some of them still researching and still finding out how hungry they were. You know, me, I'm still researching, you know, because I want to learn for the rest of my life. I'm in church the other day, and I heard the minister say, hey, man, you got to be smart, man. You got to be smart. He said, you know why? Because one day you might run into some smart people. They need to understand what you're talking about. Like, I got it. You know what I mean? Another message. I was supposed to have been at a graduation. You know what I mean? I just had no idea in the beginning, from day one, how strong and powerful this thing called addiction was. I had no idea. When I was 21 years old, man, I was lost to this right here. How strong alcohol and drugs were. And I mean, when I talk about doing the research with me and everything else and finding out, you know, how strong and powerful this shit is, man. You know? Man, this shit'll take a young lady that was Miss USA or young lady that was Miss Virginia and make her out of a prostitute, make her out of a whore. You know what I mean? That's how strong and powerful this stuff is, you know? And now we got this thing called fentanyl. You know? It's like playing Russian roulette. You know, I got the gun to my head. You know what I'm saying? You know, because I don't know, man. You know? I ain't used to gambling with my life no more. I don't try to gamble with my life no more. Some people still do that, man. They still gamble with their life. You know? And I mean, that's the hope shot. That's the hope shot. Is that, man, I ain't telling you don't gamble. But, man, don't gamble with your life. You know? Don't gamble with your life. Because it ain't no guarantees in this thing, man. It ain't no guarantees in the life, man. I know somebody else that passed yesterday. This woman was 55 years old. She was in church, and her nickname in church was Prayer Warrior. She prayed all the time. Went to North Carolina, man, caught COVID, went to the hospital and died. Just like that. It ain't no guarantees, man. You know? That's why I say I'm happy, joyous, and free. Because I know how to enjoy a day. You know? I don't know a whole lot about praying, but I know how to thank you, Lord. Thank you, God. Thank you, Jehovah, for one more day. One more day. One day at a time. You know? And that works for me. You know? That works for me. This is a spiritual program, man. This is a spiritual 12-step program, you know? And a lot of times, man, the program and some of the things in the program, steps in the program, are interpreted in several different ways. You know what I'm saying? But the gist of it is a power greater than yourself. That's what it is, a power greater than yourself, man. Two are stronger than one. In a marriage, and my wife used to say this all the time, find somebody that you can put your pennies with and make a nickel. You know? Find somebody that you can merge with and make life better. You know? It ain't meant for us to be on an island by ourselves. You know? And man, I just think about all that I have seen, witnessed, and experienced. And some of this stuff that I hear, see, and read, there's some truth to it. There's a lot of truth to it. If you don't surrender to this program, to some program, if you don't surrender, if you leave here with some reservations, watch out. Watch out, you know. And man, that's okay, before I sit down, two things I want to acknowledge. Our video people, man, Art over here in the corner. That's Art, and that's Stevie. Now, we talk all the time about coming in here and, man, hunger, with some hunger, you know. I didn't know nothing about videoing and all that stuff, man, when he got here. He was just a bum from California. You know what I'm saying? He's still a bum from California. But that just give our video man a shout out, man. Art. And Steve, you from Northern Virginia? You from Virginia? He was just a bum from Virginia. You know? And man, they came in here and they had that hunger to know and understand and realize, man, I'm more than just this. Don't define me by my addiction. Define me by something else, man. And now, man, look, I mean, Art putting some stuff down, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm an advocate for him. John gonna give him a raise next year. Bump up the minimum wage, man. But you know, yeah, those are two guys, man, and I mean they are very efficient in what they're doing, man. Y'all, anybody that leave here can go to YouTube or either to Facebook and see some of their work, man. You know, that we do here and we do down in East, you know. Another thing, man, I'm an advocate for the McShin program, you know. But I don't represent the McShin program, so some of the stuff I might spew out of my mouth, it ain't coming from McShin, it's coming from me. But when you leave here and you may need some help, I mean, I can't say, you know, some people may need it and it may happen willingly, and some people may need it and it may happen unwittingly. You know what I'm saying? But McShin, man, is here as an RCO, one of the top RCOs in the state. McShin is here to help individuals, you know? So don't pass that up, man. Don't pass that up, man. Hey, when y'all leave here, get a card and got McShin's number on it. Call somebody, man, and let them know, man, if things get rough out there, you know? Go there, they have meetings like no other. 7 days a week, Monday through Friday. You can go there and get a meeting, you know? And with that, man, I'd like to introduce y'all to the President Emeritus of McShin. He's since retired, and he spent his time on the golf course if he's not working on special projects.
Played today, man.
Did you?
Got off the court.
It was terrible, man.
Yeah. John Shinhouse.
Give Marshall a hand, man.
All right. Yeah.
Everybody give him a hand. There you go.
Yeah.
You know, I am John Shinhouse, co-founder of McShin, president emeritus, all that's true. But more important, I'm a person, you know, I'm an old timer in recovery, coming up on 41 years clean. And I don't want to go to my grave with that clean time. I want anybody I can get in front of that needs to hear our experience to hear it, because it might change your life. Yesterday, I spent the day at downtown. They had what they call Year to Peer Conference. You know, they brought in peers from all over the state, and I presented in a workshop all day long, not all day, but a 90-minute workshop, which I think was the best workshop. But a lot of people came up to me after that meeting, and they're stunned, not only of the progress McShin has made, but they're especially stunned at the fact that we have relationships with the local sheriff and with the jail, and they actually allow us to come do these meetings, and that we've been at this a while now, that we do have sober living for reentry should you need it or desire it, that we do have a recovery center, a 15,000 square foot recovery center. We got meetings 7 days a week there, that connection to community, a place where you can go and be accepted for exactly who you are, where you've been, what you've done, no judgment, no stigma. You're one of us. And that's a great launching pad to get to the next right place in life. And people, they want to know, how do you do this? How do you fund this? How do you make all this happen? And then on top of that, I've been traveling the last couple weeks. I got a lot of travel coming up in front of me. I go all over the country, and we got people like me and Marshall all over the country that, you know, they have a passion to carry that message of recovery to people who can't get out and get it. And they have a passion to develop relationships with these jails and these prisons, but they don't have reciprocating taking place in their communities. And they have to build it from the ground up like we did 19 years ago. We built this model from the ground up, and it seems and appears to be, I think, one of the best ones in the country, but this doesn't happen across America. This doesn't happen across Virginia. This is like one of those, why are we allowed to come in here and have these relationships? Why are you allowed to be in here and hear our speakers we bring in? I think there's a bigger power out there that's at work. Now, we will spend, as long as we're clean and we realize the only way we can lose that obsession to use drugs and drink and ruin our life is we got to have an obsession to constantly be improving our lives. But it's important that we take time out to try to help other people improve their lives. And we're uniquely qualified for our population, us. You know, I've been locked up 12 times, 4 times in foreign countries, all BC though, before crack. Back then it was all catch and release. You know, had I been using in today's market, I'd be right where you're at, you know, listening to hopefully somebody like me. So you guys are a wonderful group of men and women, and I really appreciate that, you know what I mean? We've been coming here long enough to know each other, and you know we're sincere. I know you're sincere. I know you guys work hard all day and you put up with policies all day and night long, and this is a special thing we get to do here every 2 weeks, and we go to East every 2 weeks, and we wish we could do more. Maybe one day we will. We have situations where we do more in some jails. You know, who knows, but we are grateful to be here. And I'm glad I get the opportunity to come up in here when I do. You know, and this is always my thing to do Tuesday. My wife has finally caught on to Tuesday nights. It took her 6 months, 9 months, and it dawned on her, oh my God, I don't get my husband on Tuesday nights. I don't get him the first Monday of the month. I don't get him the fourth Monday of the month. I don't get him every Tuesday. I don't get him on Sunday nights as home group. She's a smart woman, and she's retired now, semi-retired. She's figuring out I got an absentee husband. So I'm in a little panic mode, you know. I don't know what to do because I kind of like doing what I do, when I do it, and how I do it. And I love my wife, don't get me wrong. And some of y'all know her. She's a wonderful woman. You couldn't do no better than my wife. Hell, she came in here on a Tuesday night and spoke. And, you know, so it's not like, I don't know how to put it. But point is, man, I'm really glad to be here. And constantly reinforce with the sheriff our gratitude for this relationship. And I want to talk to you. We got a nice situation where we want to provide a trainer to come inside, whether it be west or east. Y'all decide where, but we want to do one of those state 72-hour peer training classes for you. We got a grant that's going to allow us to do that. So we're constantly looking for ways. I mean, we just landed another federal grant that I believe is going to allow us to expand our jail services in underserved facilities. And unfortunately, this is not considered an underserved facilities, but that means we got to drive somewhere around the state and identify a jail that has nothing, and then make it a point to provide services and reentry services. So we're constantly working to improve our systems. And some of you guys and girls, when you get out, you might find that you have a passion for what we're doing. And right now, McShin is an incubator for peer support specialists. We've cranked out probably 1,000 by now in the metropolitan community. And if you go to any other RCO in Virginia, and especially within a 50-mile radius, chances are good they got a McShin trained person or an alumni in there. So this is an exciting time should y'all be interested in it. Our speaker tonight is a wonderful man. I've known him for many years. He's just like us, very hard-headed. You know, he don't learn anything easy. He don't learn it the first time. I'm still not sure he ain't done learning. But I believe he's one of y'all. I believe he came through the RISE program. Did you do RISE? Yeah, I believe he's one of your alumni. And he's out there just getting it done, doing a wonderful job, and he played golf with me today, one of the rare occasions. I probably played as good as him. He's a much better golfer than me, but I don't think he showed it today. But without much ado, how about a warm welcome for Paxton?
Yeah,
I love you too, brother.
my name is Paxton. I'm an alcoholic and an addict. I'm a person who's been in recovery now. September 13th, 2021 is my clean date. And where do I start? I mean, I always like to just kind of jump right in. What it was like what happened and what it's like now. And as John mentioned, I did 13 months between the East facility and the West facility in 2015, 2016. So I went through the RISE program, recovery in a secure environment. And I got a lot of gratitude that I'll share with you that's related to my jail experience, because I could never put a month together. I couldn't put, something like 14 or 15 white chips in AA before I got to jail. And I've only had to pick up 2 since then. And there were some circumstances flying around, things I was doing that, I like to call it staying clean but living dirty. Yeah, and it'll catch up with you, to sneak up on you. So going all the way back, I was born in Columbia, South Carolina. Lived there till I was about 5 years old. Came back to Virginia. My parents were both from Albemarle, Charlottesville. We moved back to that area. And, hey, life was good. I had a charmed life back then. I was an only child for 10 years. Then I had a brother and sister. They're fraternal twins that were born. So I'm 10 years older than them. And, that's a lot of space between siblings. I'm more like an uncle to them than I am like a brother, I think. Moving forward past that, was really involved in sports all the way through high school. Had a passion for baseball, still do. And played until I was like 37 or 38 years old in various like adult leagues and stuff. I just loved it. And probably the height of my using was when I found pain relievers from a shoulder injury when I was about 33 years old. And it was hell. I never had to go into heroin or anything, but boy, did I concoct some weird, wild ways of getting these drugs, man. Having people introduce me to Marines and stuff that were home from, combat duty that had, just the ways and means and the using and more using and just, the insanity. And I'm sure everybody can relate to what I'm talking about, the way we go after it. So, which, if I go after my recovery the way I went after those drugs, even just thinking that far back, man, I got a shot at this thing. That's the way it has to be for a guy like me. So I graduated from Hampton-Sydney College in Farmville and went on to do investment banking and stock brokerage, and then went back to business school and got an MBA, and I was high the whole time. Both degrees. I couldn't, relationships came and went. I married and divorced married in 99, divorced in 2003. Then, started getting DUIs. Got 2 in a row. Went 14 years and then got 2 more. So I've had 4 DUIs. There were always consequences, but I just seemed to be able to wiggle my way out of stuff all the time. Getting a good attorney, relying on mommy and daddy, using connections to try to ease my way through employment situations. I mean, I've probably lost a half dozen jobs just due to my addiction. Never job performance. I was always a really good employee. Showed up at least. But you can't work hard during the week and smoke crack on the weekends. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And I also have a mental illness. So I have more or less a dual diagnosis. And what I have is called an adjustment disorder. And it has flashes of things that are like PTSD, but it really, it pushes me, and my mental illness pushes me in a direction I don't want to go. But it's very hard for me to get centered when it's happening, and I have to have people tell me when it's happening, because they're really, I've tried some medication for it, but I never really saw a change, because it seems like an occurrence or an event would just get me out of my square, and I don't think there is a pill for that. Yeah, and I've been misdiagnosed as bipolar on several occasions in treatment settings. But what we figured out, and this was just not just me, but medically figured out that I had a severe case of post-acute withdrawal syndrome twice that lasted the better part of 5-6 months, both times. So there was a lot of highs and lows, manic behavior, deep depressions. It was a wild ride. But finally we settled on this mental illness and me managing that. There's a lot of, I don't want to take you through all the deep, dark stuff, but I had a lot of self-centeredness and a great deal of what I would call projecting, like blame to other people for my condition and for what I was doing, my circumstances, even my consequences. I would twist things up, and then I was ego-driven, like spiritually void or bankrupt, however you want to look at it. And all of that led at age 43 to a severe 2-week meltdown where I got on benzos and drank every day for about 9-10 days. It was almost 2 weeks. And on the 10th night, it was September 29th, 2015, I decided I was going to leave Short Pump and go to Haydensville. Y'all know where that is? Out in Goochland. And I had probably popped, I'd say 5 or 6 half-milligram Xanax, and then had receipts that showed, because I don't remember any of this after that, buying a couple deuces on the way out. And I was less than a mile from where I was headed in Haydensville, and I spun out into a ditch. And I remember bits and pieces of that. And I guess I was headed to my parents lived out that way. I guess I was going to try to go through the woods and around the lake and whatever back to their house. And the Goochland Police Department picked me up because of the accident. It got called in. Again, I had to be told a lot of this stuff. They claimed to have given me a breathalyzer, and I blew a .07. So they released me to my parents. Allegedly, I was cursing them on the way out, telling the Goochland PD where they could go, what I thought about them. And, when those resentments come out, boy, they come out, Then I proceeded to basically kind of assault my parents. I got my dad's truck keys. I've already wrecked my truck. I get his keys, grab a bottle of some sort of bourbon or whatever, and I had a shotgun. Now, I had to be told all this, because I don't remember doing any of it. I am absolutely certain that I took more Xanax, because they claim to have found the bottle, and there was one pill left in there, and there had been 18 in it earlier that day. Because I kept track of my drugs. Yeah, so I imagine it kind of went like this. A few shots of whiskey, a few more Xanax, and then I'm doing donuts in my parents' front circle of their house, go off a bank into the road. They had to call the police. You know, I was a threat to myself and everybody else. So I ended up with a felony on that one. And it ended up with a DUI, and had gotten one in April. So we're at September. I'd gotten one in April, and really didn't take any steps to try to, change the track I was on. So, I was about to get the help I needed. Somehow I got the truck into four-wheel drive and went across a cornfield, and I think I blew the engine in it. And this is a nice truck. The police, I guess, kind of, closed in on me, and they said I was in the middle of a cornfield doing snow angels when they got to me. Or some sort of calisthenics or something. I can't remember exactly the detail on that. And I believe them. I really do. So I was charged with a felony, unauthorized use of a vehicle. They charged me with attempted capital murder on a police officer because of how I was driving. They charged me with a DUI. And then there were about 6 or 7 ancillary charges. And so I was here because Goochland, they buy time from Henrico for their corrections. So I remember on September 30th, I'm shackled, feet and hands. And all of a sudden, I kind of realize where I am. And I'm in a seat, I'm seated across from the magistrate. And he's just sort of looking at me. He goes, "I've been waiting for you to come around for about an hour now. I need to explain a few things to you." And I said, "Well, where am I?" And he goes, "You Henrico?" I said, "Yeah, I kind of thought I was. I'd been here before. On some other stuff. Yeah, a stack of 13 charges in my lap." And he looks me in the eye and he says, "Phew. I don't know." He's like, "I don't know how you're going to sort this out. I really don't." And he said, I don't think I'm going to give you bond." So, yeah. He was like, "I would normally, run you through an arraignment and everything." But he's like, "I think I'm going to send you up to the detox unit, 229. I don't know if it's still 229. But, yeah, so I spent a little time in there, and then somehow, some way, the gears started turning for me when I accepted the fact that I was not getting a bond, and then I went through some arraignment proceedings and so on, realized that it really wasn't a possibility, and I just I think that may have been the first time that I really accepted what was happening, my role in it, and what needed to happen going forward. So I know that my parents had contacted John, and it was suggested that I go on out to East and start the RISE program. And I think within 3 days of getting here, I was out there. And, you know, I got to be honest with you, man, I was scared shitless. You know, I don't think I really understood the severity of the things I had just done, at least at that point. But now I was going to have time to do that. So, and I told you, when I look back on that experience in the RISE program, I mean, I am very grateful. I'm grateful to God. I'm grateful to all the people that were in that program with me. I still, every now and then, will see one of them out on the street. You know, it changed everything for me. You know, I finally knew who I was. I finally realized, you know, the fight's over, man. The fight is over. I ended up being an instructor in that program for 6 months, and then it was time to do all the court proceedings. And one of the things I disliked most about it, I was not grateful for the back and forth between court and East facility. And it seemed like it was happening twice a week because of the severity of my charges. So I just said, hey, I'm going to West. Well, they put me in max security when I get here because of my charges. We finally started making some progress in getting those charges kind of right-sized, you know. Because I think they really wanted the punishment to fit the crime, which I appreciate. And I think they also wanted to see me really kind of accept the jail life that I had chosen. Because I started having a good day every day in jail. I really did. I was playing basketball. I was going to meetings. I liked my time here at West as much as I did at East. Learned how to cook with some really strange ingredients, man. Real strange stuff. And I got it all up here. And I'm going to keep it up there. I've got, I was just out at the McShin golf tournament last Thursday, and a guy that I was in with was out there running a business, real family-oriented guy now. He was not like that when we were here, I really thought he couldn't wait to get out and get high. But he has come a long way. He's got some good, clean time, and he's holding on to it, too. And I'm just so thrilled to see him doing so well. I think he feels the same way about me, It's mutual. So, well, that's what happened. So, I get out of the RISE program, come back to West, get through all my court proceedings, and Judge Sander out in Goochland showed me some mercy. No longer attempted murder on a police officer. It was reckless endangerment of a police officer, eluding police, the felony conviction on unauthorized use of a vehicle, and then that second, but technically fourth DUI. So I was in jail for 13 months and 1 day because I had violation time too, don't forget. So I ended up getting a year for all the things I did that one night. Then I obviously had violated on that DUI that I got in April. So I ended up doing 13 months straight. Get out. I was a little skeptic about how I was going to react when I got out. And John had come out to talk to us at East, and I thought to myself, if I have a chance to get over to McShin when I get out of here, I'm going to take it. And there wasn't anything else. it is the best reentry track. It was for me. And I settled in there in about a week, ended up getting into some leadership stuff, like leading a house. And then within a month, I was the admissions and intake coordinator. And as far as strengthening my recovery, I mean, so when you're in RISE, and some of y'all may know this, you probably go over the course of 6 or 7 months, you probably do 1,000 meetings. Now, I'm grateful to be going to one a day, living in a recovery house. I'm not wondering where my food's coming from. I'm getting a little paycheck at the end of the week. I stayed in that system for 9 months. Isn't that right? 9 months? Yeah. And I really, really, really had a positive experience. My recovery just took off, home group sponsor, steps. I mean, I was doing it all. And then I decided to aim a little higher on the career trajectory, and I got humbled, because that's what was missing from my program, humility. I've always been very resilient. Some of it is being resourceful, and some of it is just flat out being like manipulative, I guess, manipulating family and friends and stuff. But I realized I wasn't going to be able to do that in this new position that I had. I was going to have to get out on the street and actually do some work. And I hung on for about 8 or 9 months in that role. And I was making good money. Things were going well. But I'll never forget this manager. I got this manager who had been working for one of the pharmaceutical companies, and just had an exact way you were going to go in and talk to people. Not like there wasn't a real dialogue or narrative. It was, this is what you're here to do, and you're going to do it. And I just didn't respond to that. And I could have, but I didn't. And ended up kind of, I'd say, getting back on firm ground at another, with an addictionologist here in Richmond, who's still a friend of mine, was my sponsor for a little while, until he wouldn't stay put for more than 2 weeks, in and out of the country since he retired. It's crazy. But hey, man, he's enjoying his recovery, and he's got 38 years clean. So, I've got a lot of people around me in recovery now. I work for Crossroads Community Service Board, and I've also got a lot of clinicians around. And this position I'm in now as a peer support specialist is probably one of the best fits I've ever had. And that's going all the way back to, when I got the MBA and stuff. Being able to come in and people are in various places. Some people are contemplating recovery. Some people are, they're at various stages in the process. And, I feel like I work well with people that are early in recovery, with newcomers. I've started to take a lot of time with helping people find their path into recovery, because it's not always abstinence, which is what I have to practice, but I don't necessarily have to put my program to work on you or on another person. It's just it's a real growing trend in these community service boards to kind of they're starting to be able to build more. I have an opportunity to maybe put a peer-to-peer program in a jail. There's a lot of good things happening in behavioral health right now in Virginia. John said, we were at this conference this week. I had a chance to stay around Richmond. I got to see my daughters. I have 2 daughters. Their mother and I never got married. And she actually went with me to the McShin golf tournament. And, I think we're probably doing better now than we ever have. And a lot of that has to do with me being a little more centered and a lot more focused. And, I'm not trying to be some playboy, out there, beating the bushes. Yeah. Relationships and choices. That's really what it boils down to for me. And, I try to strengthen my relationships now. And when I'm doing my work at the Community Service Board, I'm doing a lot more motivational interviewing and strengths-based, person-based work, helping people. I'm not going to fix anybody. They need time to heal, just like I did. They deserve a chance at recovery, just like I do. It really is just sort of, this peer-to-peer thing is just huge for a guy like me. I need to just be on firm ground and just do what I do best, which is, trying to help people find gratitude, because it took me a long time to find gratitude. And then showing gratitude, even more important. Because I can get real ungrateful real quick, even with some clean time. It's just real easy. Something goes wrong. Maybe my mental illness sneaks in. Maybe somebody from my past kind of creeps up on me. And I can get real ungrateful real quick. And I know that. And, the spirituality in this program is essential for a person like me. Every day, I start out, first 20 minutes is daily reflections, some meditation, and some mindfulness breathing. Last 20 minutes of the day, same thing. And what happens in between, that's the gift. That's the gift each day. Good things happen, some bad things happen, some so-so things happen. But what I find, the way I start and the way I finish, that balance in between and my attitude are what carries me through all that. There are no perfect people. And you can't change people. I just try to do the best I can, because I can't do it alone. First of all, I never could. There was a period when I had about 5 years clean where I thought I could do it by myself. Sponsor, I call you once a week. Steps, man, I've been through those. We could revisit one maybe. Revisit 8 and 9, get some stuff corrected, get some resentments out of the way. But nah, I've got to have a home group, a sponsor, and got to be working a step. Bottom line, I'm doing myself a disservice if I'm not. I'm taking my recovery for granted if I'm not, and that's a slippery slope for me. I just think it's the gratitude element that's made the biggest difference, and it took a lot of journaling and gratitude lists, and things to kind of get me started, just to sort of let it, because to have it and then to show it You know, that's how it's supposed to work. So, yeah, I mean, it's just been a key element this go-round. And I remember when I got here, Marshall was saying, you know, like kind of with the people I'm working with, I don't know which time or which crack at recovery is going to be the one that works. So, you know, I see some people come in every week. It's the same story. But I'm not giving up on them. They keep showing up. There's something there that they want. And, you know, I'm not a spiritual guide or anything like that. I just try to be a resource to them and someone that'll listen, you know? And then the other thing Marshall was talking about was judgment. I mean, I do a group on Wednesdays at the Community Service Board, and I open it up every time with the same thing. This is a safe place, judgment-free. What we say here stays here. Now, let's have a group, you know? I just like for them to know that this is for them. And a lot of times I'll tell them, this is as much for me as it is for you, because we're in this together. It's a peer-to-peer situation. And I think, you know, I'm getting some traction out in Farmville. So if y'all have any questions, that's kind of what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. You know, and there are plenty of details. Yeah. Thank y'all. Hey, Kurt.
I know outside of being ungrateful, right? You spoke on being receptive to the program, solving the wrath, right? Mm-hmm. But like, what kind of struggles did you have and how did you overcome initially?
Oh, personalities over principles, stuff like that, man. You know, like that whole, you know, especially in you know, all men in jail. You know, there was still some. Yeah, there were still just some power struggles that were going on, you know. I mean, I'm not a badass or anything, but I don't let people walk on me. That's for damn sure. And you know, but I also learned how to kind of keep some of that in, because you don't want to go around getting your ass whipped every day, you know. And there are people that'll do that. You know, and you just don't want to be on one side or the other. So it's politics too, man. That'd be my answer to you. You learn how to play politics the right way, because you know, in jail, might can make right, or at least it can. You know, it can flare up. You certainly don't want to be getting any more charges while you're in here. So, you know, like my situation was bad enough. So that was one way I would reflect on it. I would say, you know, I don't want to be here. I don't want to make this worse. I don't want it to be harder than it has to be. And there's a lot of self-talk, man. Because, you know, people do. They want to expose you when you're in here. Anybody else question? Okay.
The part I like is you get your card in the crack, man.
But I had my golf bag on my back going down Chamberlain, man. Can I play through? Yeah, all right. So, not to talk about war stories or anything, but I've been held up in the Richmond Motel for about 4 days. I mean, drinking and smoking crack. What else do you do in the Richmond Motel?
I mean, I like the part where you give your car away.
Yeah.
You kept the clubs.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. So you know, hey, I wasn't running on all cylinders, man. You know, I wasn't. Relationships and choices. Right. I mean, I'm making some really poor choices, right. And you know, I got into a little debt with the dope man, and I had to give him my keys, and. Then he loaned my car to somebody else, and they wrecked it.
How about that?
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean,
y'all wrecked a car before? You know you have, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think mine was wrecked on purpose, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that might be my mental illness.
Anybody else? Give him a hand, man. Thank you. I love you, man. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I mean, I watched Paxton. We first met probably 25 years ago. You know, a lot of old timers in recovery, we meet people. We have relationships in recovery. You know, a lot of people come and go.
Yeah, they do.
You know, but you said it earlier. You don't know when it's going to be the one you launch at. You know, you never know. This is a fatal, incurable, progressive illness, and lots of people have misfires. And how many of y'all been in recovery before? And here we are. You know, it can happen. You know, I got a relapse in me. As long as I've been clean in the short amount of life I got left in me, I'm closer to my relapse now than I ever been before. I'm paying close attention to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ain't trying to go there. I don't want to be on the green team. I mean, no offense to the team or nothing, but that ain't how I'm trying to go out.
Yeah.
You got anything for him?
I mean, like he was saying about the relapse, very seldom, traveling from place to place, do we see people that got this thing first time around.
It's rare.
Rare. First time around. You know, and like Paxton, like you said, humble, the humility, you know, would keep you out there. I mean, the buzzword in there is, I'm good. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I don't need no help. I can handle it on my own, you know. And, you know, you see them a year and a half, 2 years, sometimes 3, 4 years later, you know. And, you know, you just welcome them back, man. Give them a hug, you know.
Who's the next one gets released? Y'all know when you get out?
I get out next year.
Next year? That's the closest one? February? Huh?
I'm the next one out of the
You the next one out? When you get out?
September the 12th.
Hot damn. That's 3 days after Recovery Fest, man. You're going to miss it. But September's recovery month. If you have an interest, when you get out, there'll be events all over, all type of events, you know, eating affairs, relationship affairs, educational affairs. September's National Recovery Month. You can meet 1,000 people that you don't know right now. When you get out on the 12th, by the time September 30th ends, if you want. 1,000 new people you never knew before in recovery. That's how many events will be in the month of September in the metro area. Mm-hmm. You know, every organization has it. We'll probably have one here. You don't know about it yet, Pam, but we'll have a big event here.
Yeah.
We'll do something.
I'd love to.
That's the type of year where we might do a cookout and, you know, work out how to get them into you and whatnot. Y'all like cookouts? Yes. Y'all have them here, right?
No.
Y'all ain't had a cookout since you been here? Man, we're going to work on that.
Yeah.
Well, they ain't going to let you out, but we can bring them in. The sheriff, well, he used to let us have a cookout every now and then. So, but I don't want to invoke what he used to do up around here.
Yeah. And you know, last time we were here, man, I spoke on it, about recovery, about what John and what Paxton was saying. A lot of people, man, are inspired, you know, to help, you know, and the government and everybody else throwing a lot of money and programs at this recovery thing, you know. And they're doing it because there's a need for it, man. You know, I'm talking about for the last 5 years. The death toll has been climbing.
It inched up this past year.
Oh, yeah. You know,
2,000 people died.
And you know, and I just think, man, a lot of times you look at the news and you see shit on there that don't even concern you. You know, and when it don't, you know, you got a different perspective about it. But then when you hear about your neighbor or a family member or whatever that has died as a result of this disease, you know, it kind of hits home. You know, you have a different perspective about it, you know. And
any of our visitors want to say a few words?
That's real.
Well, stand up. Let's get you the mic so the Facebook people can hear you.
Yeah.
Steve's bringing it around to you. Now this man here, he can hardly get around, but he was excited to come up in here tonight.
First, I want to apologize to my phone boy off that I did. My name is Perry, recovered addict.
Hey, Perry.
Hey, Per.
I came in the program May the 23rd of last year. Today is the 23rd, which has been a year for me today. And I've been doing what I'm supposed to have been doing this.
You've been here a year? Man.
I got in the program, I took the suggestions, I got a sponsor, got a home group and network, and I've been doing what I'm supposed to be doing this since I got here.
And you at McSunny, right?
Yeah, I'm at McSunny.
You've been here a whole year already?
A whole year since
Good
May
Lord,
the 23rd
seemed like
of last
yesterday.
year to 23rd this year.
Where'd you come from when you got there?
Henrico East.
All right, there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah, way to go, Perry.
If you're working.
Way to go.
Working.
Yeah. Good hit. Anybody else? Stand up, speak loud. Use your man voice.
Courtney, recovery addict. I'm at McShin.
Hey, Courtney.
I came to McShin March 14th. I've been clean since March 8th.
Yeah, that's a shout out.
Yeah, McShin fun.
Yeah.
It's real fun.
These guys, they hear about what we do here, and they want to come. I mean, they want to see what's going on.
It's
And
not like what I thought it was. I thought it was going to be like jail, but it's not like jail. It's fun. It's every day is a different adventure.
Yeah.
I should say. Maybe it's just for me, but.
there you go. Well, thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
Everybody good?
Thank you for
Are
being
we-
here,
are we
Courtney.
good tonight?
Yes.
I'm on schedule tonight.
Yeah.
All right. Once again, thank the sheriff for letting us come up in here. Thank y'all for paying attention. And y'all enjoy the donuts? Yeah. That was Marshall's idea, man.
Yeah, we got a couple
that
more.
was my fifth donut for the day, man.
Hey, we got a couple of more donuts.
Yeah. Tear them up. And we'll see y'all in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
thanks.
For your